Something strange happened today in Ottawa, something that shows exactly how desperate the opposition has become and how quickly misinformation collapses when real leadership steps in. Yesterday, Mark Carney stood on a global stage in Johannesburg and handled the press with complete clarity. He shut down repetitive, meaningless questions, he stayed focused on Canada's agenda, and he made it clear that this country isn't waiting for Trump's approval to move forward. And yet within hours, Pierre Poilievre tried to twist one line from that press conference into an attack. He tried to claim that when Carney said, "Who cares?" he was dismissing Canadian workers, Canadian jobs, and Canadians hurt by U.S. tariffs. But Canadians saw the clip. They know exactly who Carney was talking about. He wasn't dismissing this country. He was dismissing childish questions. Today, in Parliament, Poilievre tried to roast Carney, but it didn't go the way he expected. Poilievre walked straight into a trap because Carney's team came fully armed with facts, confidence, and receipts.
The Prime Minister claimed during the last election that the U.S. tariffs were an existential crisis, and I quote, requiring that he immediately be elected to, quote, negotiate a win and get a deal by July 21st. Well, a few days ago, he was asked about the state of those negotiations, and he said there are no issues of importance to discuss. In fact, he said, who cares? Mr. Speaker, we care. We care about the workers who've lost their jobs and don't have paychecks to make their mortgage payments. Why doesn't he care?
When Poilievre rose in the House of Commons, you could tell he believed he had a viral moment in his hands. He delivered his lines like he was performing for social media, repeating "who cares" again and again, as if dramatic emphasis could rewrite reality. The problem? Reality was not on his side. Everyone watching had already seen Carney's full answer. They saw the context, the tone, and the intent. Poilievre was pretending Carney dismissed Canadian families, but the clip shows Carney doing the exact opposite. He was rejecting the dramatics, the obsession with Trump, and the low-value questioning from the journalist. But Poilievre kept pushing the twist. He leaned into the narrative, hoping repetition would create truth. Instead, repetition made the desperation obvious.
Mr. Speaker, things are getting out of hand on the other side of the House.
Repeating of these mega claims came in the wake of the member for Calgary Midnapore questioning the Prime Minister's loyalty to Canada. I think we can all agree that those are comments that no Canadian can take seriously. My question is, does the Leader of the Opposition take them seriously? If he doesn't, which he must surely not, would he tell the House and would he tell his member to apologize for those comments?
Then Dominic LeBlanc stood up, and the mood shifted instantly. Where Poilievre relied on theatrics, LeBlanc relied on clarity. He calmly reminded the House that repeating a line, no matter how loudly or dramatically, does not make it true. His tone wasn't angry, it was steady, confident, and almost amused. LeBlanc pointed out something important. While Poilievre was twisting words, the government was actually working. They were defending Canadian workers, they were negotiating protections, they were strengthening industries. And Poilievre, time after time, voted against the very measures designed to help Canadians. In a single response, LeBlanc pulled apart the entire foundation of Poilievre's attack. It wasn't a clash, it was an exposure. And then Champagne rose to speak, and this is where the whole exchange turned from political debate to political theater. Champagne opened with humor, pointing out how animated Poilievre and his caucus already were, and it's only Monday. The room erupted, and that small moment alone deflated the intensity Poilievre tried to create. But then Champagne did what he does best. He brought the receipts. He listed the infrastructure being built across Regina, Winnipeg, and Moose Jaw. He spoke about the investments flowing into housing, clean tech, and national defense. He outlined real projects, real budgets, and real commitments happening across the country. And with every example, he exposed the flaw in Poilievre's attack.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
And negotiate a deal with the United States, he repeats the same promise that the Prime Minister has been breaking for the last 8 months. He said he would have a deal by July 21st, no deal. He said he'd negotiate a win, no win. He said he wouldn't back down. All he's done is back down. He said he'd be elbows up. His elbows are missing. And now when he's asked about the fate of these thousands of jobs that rely on him keeping his word, he says, who cares? Isn't it clear by now that even days after he met the president, only Brookfield got the $80 billion deal? Is that what he meant when he promised he'd negotiate a win?
Honorable ministre des Finances. Mr. Speaker, there's so much that...
While one man was trying to build a headline, another man was building a country. By the time Champagne finished, the roast Poilievre hoped for had reversed entirely. Here's the truth Canadians walked away with today, and it's simple. They saw a prime minister abroad representing Canada with confidence. They saw reporters trying to drag him into pointless drama. They saw Poilievre take a single line out of context and try to turn it into a scandal. And then they saw two senior ministers calmly dismantle the spin in Parliament. This wasn't complicated. It wasn't confusing. It wasn't a he said, she said. Canadians saw the full picture. Carney focused on Canada's future. Poilievre focused on twisting a moment. LeBlanc and Champagne focused on facts. And when the dust settled, it was obvious who looked like a leader and who looked like someone trying to force a narrative that simply didn't match reality. This whole chain of events shows something important. Carney is shaping Canada's direction, both globally and politically. Poilievre tried to weaponize a moment, but Carney's team didn't just respond, they dismantled the narrative with ease. Yesterday, Carney shut down a reporter who was wasting everyone's time. Today, his team shut down an opposition leader doing the same thing. Canada is moving forward, the noise is staying behind. Before we wrap up, I just want to say a huge thank you for the overwhelming response to Canada Today's Patreon. The support, the feedback, the positivity, it genuinely means the world. Every message from our Patreon community reminds us why we do this, and it keeps us motivated to bring you the most detailed, honest, and high-quality analysis we can possibly bring.